This is unregulated access to unregulated content.
Whilst we're all here seeking out mentors, who are you mentoring to be able to tell that's not gonna work out well?
Why is it that men are afforded a longer grace period to become a full man?
Because we have also internalized a lot of these narratives about leading on and being, you know, a bit too provocative. And why are you wearing that? Why shouldn't she show her belly button? She's 13.
Are you learning to be somebody's father at 3?
Hello and welcome to the To My Sisters podcast. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Renee, and we are your online sisters and hosts of the To My Sisters podcast.
We are all about promoting the wellness, growth and development of a community of sisters across the world.
And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about whether the girls are growing up too fast. Adultification, maturation, insert word, and then endation.
Okay. Hateration.
All of that good stuff amidst the rise of social media and various pressures and makeup and hair and all sorts of stuff. Are the girls getting too big for their boots too quickly? It's about to be a thick one, but first of all, we're still alive.
Oh, we give God eternal glory. We are alive to tell the tale.
We got all sorts of foot ulcers. Our ankles are swollen. But we just want to say a big thank you, first of all, to all the ladies that came out yesterday. Like, ladies, it was amazing being out here with you,
really was.
Fellowshipping with you, going
Not
through
fellowship.
going rolling in the deep with you.
Yeah, getting to know you guys. It was honestly a privilege, and it's always just a honor to be able to see you guys in person. Yeah.
We want to have way more in-person meetups and just opportunities for us to come together as a community.
Yes.
So girls, thank you, and thank you for being such good-hearted troopers who, you know, bared with us in amidst all of the all the passa and the wahala. So congratulations to you guys as well for being part of that. And we also want to extend a big thank you to our community for supporting. Even if you weren't with us in person, we definitely felt, you know, your spirit, your happiness, your donations
and your support.
Thank you so much. And we hope that we can continue to cultivate a culture of giving here at To My Sisters. We told you guys we're trying to do something a little bit different here, where we're not just creating content and pouring into you guys, but we want to create this culture where we are pouring into each other. So thank you all. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. And we will be documenting and sharing when we give the donations as well to the school in the Nungwi village in Tanzania, and just keeping you guys updated on the impact that we have all been able to come together to have. So thank you.
And for the ladies that are actually still interested in getting a step in, you have absolutely zero time. Okay. you on your last leg. If you have not joined the Vision 22 challenge just yet, this is August. Your last baby.
Last call.
Roll call. Roll up. If you manage to get 10k steps every single day for this last week of August, you could be in with a chance of winning £100.
100 GBP.
So get stepping.
Yes.
You left it late, baby. It's the last week of August. We basically in September, if not October.
Yeah. Oh, it's the end of the year. Merry Christmas. Yeah.
Basically. But
get those steps in.
Get those
10,000 steps, 7 days in a row. That's it.
That's all we're asking.
It's not small, but you can do it.
Look, we've been getting our steps. Like, damn.
I actually have the back page.
Apple Watch, when will you sponsor us? Because we've been using you.
No,
we've been
promotion galore.
Promotion. Anywho.
Thank God.
Anyway, sisters, that's enough of housekeeping from us. We will be going into the ding
dilemma.
All right. Now, this is a bit of an awkward one. I can't lie to you. Hey, sisters.
Hey, babes.
I'm a fellow sister from Belgium with Congolese roots.
We've been to Belgium. It's great. It's lovely.
We have big up sisters with Congolese roots. Yes. I love a fellow Congolese sister. Hey, Yaya. What's good?
Wow.
Okay.
Sorry, it's very tangential, but I really love that Yaya thing.
I know,
I love it so much.
It's so endearing.
So nice.
Man. First, I want to say that I'm glad I discovered you guys and I love you both so much.
Oh, I love you
I've
too.
been listening since the episode You're Going to End Up Alone, and since then I download your episodes to listen to it on my way to work.
Thank you.
Before I explain my dilemma, I want to give a fun fact. Courtney and I share the same birthday.
No
Different
way!
birth year. I was so thrilled when I found that out.
May the 4th,
Come
baby!
on. I hate that you've done this. Wow, sis.
I know like 5 people born on that day.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Wow, you're part of the CDB squad.
The best.
Wow, you've got a lot of brownie points of Congolese roots.
I know.
Same birthday as Courtney. You are
Maybe
third
she's
sister.
the
She's
third.
like sitting in between us right now. Here comes the dilemma. Since last year, I started working at a supermarket as a student job, and I'm still there thriving.
Congrats.
In the summer of 2021, I also had another job at a brewery and had a nice amount of money.
Nice.
Sadly, my mum took that money because a friend needed that for some kind of business stuff. I told her that I didn't want to give it because I was saving for a vacation. She was mad about it, and I had to fold and had to start again from rock bottom. She guilt-tripped me by saying that for once I'm able to help people and I'm not happy about it.
Oh dear.
She hasn't paid me that money back and sometimes asks me to give her high amounts of money. The weird thing is, she has a great job herself. I may sound crazy, but I've made a list of all the money she owes me, and it's a lot. I want to talk about it, but there's never a right moment since we also really don't get along. What should I do, sisters?
So, first of all, I think you're going to have to accept that that money you gave her is gone.
Yeah, that's not...
She's not going back.
That's not...
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I actually, and
That
you know
is
what?
not
I
coming
really
back.
want to, because I know people come here for like a wealth of wisdom and, you know, us talking about mother-daughter relationships and stuff. This one,
You gotta let that one
let
go.
me give you the game.
Oh.
Firstly, that money is gone. Your mum, it's like when, you know, an auntie and uncle will come over like, here's money. They'll put it in
give
like
me...
that.
Give me...
Yeah, and you take that money, or they really, really, really do shoot you in the foot and they actually give it to your parents first, yeah? And then they're like, oh, it's for, you know, it's for a day. And then your mom's like, oh, okay.
Thank you.
And then you go and ask her for the money one day when you want to go and buy ice cream or something. And she's like, all the food that you eat in this house,
That's when
the
they'll now
clothes out on
conjure it
your
up,
back.
boy.
Where do you think I got the money from? If you don't give me my £5.
It's as in, I'm going to buy a Freddo.
And you know she used it to buy a phone call,
That's the thing.
a calling card.
That's the thing.
Do you remember phone cards?
They were annoying.
Your mum would wake you up at any time of the morning.
We suffered, you know.
Early, go and buy a phone call. I need to go and buy a phone card. I need to
your
go and call Auntie
in-
Gifty. I don't care about Auntie Gifty. I don't care.
Auntie Gifty too. I wanted, how many sisters
Have an Auntie Gifty.
I need to know. I have an Auntie Gifty.
It's suspicious.
You don't find that suspicious?
But no, okay, back to the dilemma, yeah? Parents do it all the time. They just, I think a lot of parents do feel entitlement to their children's money, especially when they believe that their children don't have anything else that they should really be using the money for, or that they deem to be important. So they may be thinking, okay, yeah, you know, I've raised you, I've had to maybe sacrifice finances for you. Where you a young girl, where you go in that you'll need, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds. But for us, it's the sense of ownership and the fact that, firstly, you're my parent, you're my guardian, you have to pay these things for me. And secondly, this money is mine. You know, unless we have come to an agreement that we share it, or there's some kind of responsibilities that I take care of in the household. And so I do think that it's unfortunate that some parents feel that kind of entitlement, but at the same time, you kind of have to navigate around it, which brings me to my second point. So the first point is you're not getting that money back. Just write off the debt.
Yeah,
just write off the debt. Get back to work, put your head down, because it could just cause more problem than it's, not that it's worth, because I'm sure it's a lot of money and it means a lot to you to have that money back, but it's going to be an argument. It's a lot. Write that money off, yeah? And do not tell your mum how much you're making. If it was me personally,
do you know what?
I'd even become unemployed.
I was thinking the exact same thing too. And I was like, is it problematic if I suggest this?
This is why people, no, but this is why people hide their salaries from their parents. And I completely understand. And to be fair, even me, yeah, my parents hide their salaries from me. Because one thing about me, once I become privy to some information, you cannot tell me I don't have money. No, you're going to buy me some stuff. Do you get what I mean? And I think most people are like that. Like the reason why we kind of conceal certain information from some people is they will start moving differently once they know that. And we may not be prepared for the demands that puts on us. And it's completely fine. Like it's actually fine to have financial boundaries with your parents. And honestly, like for me, maybe, okay, but now she knows I work. Now she knows roughly how much I have. I don't want to encourage anybody to lie, but you need to go home and next time she asks you for money, I don't have any. Why? I've been managing it poorly.
Yeah.
Soz, she doesn't need to know how much money you have.
She don't even need to know that you're saving, bro.
At all.
You shouldn't have even told her vacation
in the first place. Like
school fees
or something else like necessary, because it's unfortunate that for some, and it doesn't have to be like this with everyone. So please, if you are listening to this dilemma and this is not your dilemma, we're not saying anyone who earns money should hide it from their parents.
100%.
Because it's actually really good to have your parents' inputs into how you should steward your money. And that's how a lot of financial wisdom and financial literacy actually gets passed on from generation to generation. And so I do think aiming for financial transparency in a family is actually really important. But if you exist within a family where that's not going to be possible, you're going to have to employ financial secrecy.
Pack it in.
Yeah. And I don't think it's necessarily wrong. I really don't, because you can't economically thrive. Like, you actually can't financially thrive if your mom specifically, is going to keep asking you for money and hemorrhaging your account. 100%. Like, it's not going to work. And also, these things don't tend to stop. So today it will be, it's my friend's birthday, or like, we have to pay for XYZ. Next week it will be, we have to do this. Can you bring money towards this? Can this so-and-so is going? Can you contribute? And it's like, I don't want to, but then every time saying no paints you more as a villain. So instead of saying no, just say, I ain't got it. Soz.
I actually love that. I think we're the same person, because that was going through my mind, and I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to show this one. After Courtney comes with something saying, talk to the parents or what else to get hide that cash.
There's nothing to talk about here.
I completely hear it. I really completely hear it. And I think that even this whole element of, you guys have a tight relationship already, I think the focus should be on that, as opposed to focusing on, the direction of money. Like, really find an opportunity to really like focus on building your relationship with your mother, as opposed to trying to fix the financial issues between you. Because I think if you focus too much on the finances and trying to like, let's repair our relationship through this, it becomes a lot more difficult. For sure. And I think I completely agree. I think there are certain things where secrecy is not always bad.
Nope.
Sometimes you have to do some things for the greater good. This is a greater good. Lest you find yourself in a dynamic where you are the cash cow for your mother or family or whatever. And I love the fact that you said that these things don't stop, right? They escalate. Soon you'll be paying for people's houses. And the fact that it wasn't even necessary. No, but bro, like, it wasn't even for the mom's essentials. It was for a friend's business.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
One thing that I will never forget, when I was a kid and I was going to like Bible school, one of the teachers, it was so funny. No, it was actually so funny, because our teacher was not a serious person at all. She was like, we actually had a lesson on like how to say no to things. And I remember if someone asks you for something and you don't want to give it to them, you have to you don't have to lie. You just have to say the truth in a way that is not offensive. And she was like, for example, if you have, cookies or whatnot, we were kids. It's like, if you guys have cookies, you don't want to give someone your cookie, you have to say, I don't have cookies for you.
Yeah, there we go.
I think it's not even a lie. Good. You don't have money for her.
Yeah.
You don't have money for your mother.
I haven't budgeted for that.
You have money for yourself. You have money for your vacations. You have money for the essentials that you're saving towards, but get it in your mind that you don't have money for her. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a lie. It's more so you understand that you have priorities that you want to honor.
That's good.
Therefore, you don't have money for her.
At this present time.
Unfortunately.
There you go.
You don't have money.
And it may be worth having a conversation with her about like, I know you said that she's financially stable, like she doesn't need your money. But if she does like feel like, oh, you should be contributing in some way, have a conversation about that. Okay, let me know what my obligations are so that I can actually put that in the budget, so that I know I do have money for this. But when you keep coming to me with these ad hoc things, I haven't budgeted for that.
I
don't have it for that.
I don't have money for you.
There you go. Excellent.
But sis, we really hope that helped some more, and we really do pray for prosperity your way. Yeah, we want your bank accounts healthy.
Yeah,
plush.
And well done, honestly, done, no, biggest bad thing, like well done for going out there working, but also saving and being able to provide for the life that you actually want to live as well. Like,
honestly,
yeah, sis,
honestly,
we're clapping for you.
Honestly, sending so much love, and also sending a lot of love to people that are also in a similar position. I think recently, even in some of the episodes that we've touched on regarding like family dynamics, I know that a lot of people are dealing with just really uncomfortable relationships with their parents, or this like sense of entitlement sometimes from parents, whether it be to your money, your resources, your time, emotional labor. And we just want to send love your way. We pray for replenishment. And we pray that, you know, genuinely that you will find comfort and resources that will be able to refill where you've been empty. So some wholesome stuff, man. Some wholesome stuff.
Love that.
But getting into the meat and bones of the episode,
let's champ it up.
I'm very excited for this one.
Let's talk about. So am I, actually.
I'm really excited for this one.
So am I.
I just want to have a conversation with you, Miss Courtney, because it feels like the girls are growing up too fast. Recently, there's been hella controversy online around the fact that we've got girls who are younger and younger, digital natives, as well as just folks in this generation who feel like they have to grow up too fast, right? I think there was a case study of like babes who are on TikTok out here hiring MUAs for their first day of school.
When you told me that, I said, guys.
What?
Jeez, oh.
And, you know, eyebrows on fleek, getting eyelashes. They're out here, you know, buying their own first cars at 16.
Wow.
Getting
Boss
into
babes.
Fraudulent behavior.
Not boss babes.
In relationships with elder men.
Scary.
Substantially old men. Elderly men. And I just wanted to start with your thoughts on this apparent explosion of of girls that are seemingly growing up too quickly.
Okay, so first of all, I do think in terms of people, okay, let me take the position of our little sisters, the girls in that age range. I guess in terms of the study you were talking about, that's like the 11, like teenagers. So let's talk about the 10 to 16 year olds. I do think it's interesting when you are growing up in a technological age where you have got such ready access to so much news and like just this push notification culture. You know, people are getting phones at younger age, access to social media at younger ages. It's really important to note that I get that people may think, why are you growing up so fast? But they are aware of so much more than you probably were aware of when you were their age. And so the maturity needed, like the mental, emotional maturity needed, even if like cognitively your brain has not developed to be able to deal with these issues. If you're being confronted at the age of 13 with the fact that there's a global climate crisis, there's a financial crisis, there's all these things, your attention is going to be, how am I going to survive? Like if people are going to tell me that the world might not be here by the time I'm 35, I'm trying to fit all my lifetime into right now, you know? And I think a lot of people are growing up too fast because they're trying to experience life in a world which is telling them you may not have that long to live. Do you get what I mean? Or that or the capability when you get older to live well. Because like buying a house is going to be harder. So people, if somebody tells you, right, buying a house now is like 10 times harder than it was 10 years ago, right? You're going to start 10 years earlier to try and get a head start. Do you know what I mean? So that's why the girls are out here with, and also like buying stuff is more expensive now, right? So we would go out with our £3 a day allowances. £3 a day is not buying you much anymore. Do you get what I mean? And so now it's like, okay, if I actually want to enjoy myself, and that's every, like, I wouldn't say every teen's goal, but like, teenagers want to have fun. They want to enjoy their friends. They want to be popular, or they want to be socially accepted in whatever circles. That costs money. There's a buy-in to social acceptance. If you don't have the money, if your parents also don't have money because they're also living in an economic crisis, what are you going to do? Side hustles, work. The internet is giving you so much information as well about how to make money. You're going to embark on that, you know? And if you don't, whether the way you embark on it is good or not, like morally right or not, if you don't, there are social consequences, right? Because you can't partake in these things which are bringing people popularity and social acceptance. And so then there's also the front of, well, what's the psychological impact of that, or the mental impact of not being able to participate in that? And is everybody going to want to take on that social consequence? So I do think there is a level of compassion we need to have to what teenagers are actually going through in terms of trying to find their place in society, especially especially teenage girls, because as much as we talk about the pervasiveness of like toxic diet culture, it didn't just happen with our generation, it's still happening. And this isn't just billboards and magazines anymore. This is targeted advertisement. This is sponsored posts. This is influencer culture. It's everything that they open their phone to see and then also then go into school to partake in. So regardless, they're being hit with I would say an immense amount of pressure. And I think as generations get younger, they get more as we go down in generations, people criticize more, right? Oh, microwave generation, or this technological generation, all of you guys are back like spineless. But okay, you guys were dealing with world wars. We're dealing with world wars, economic crisis, and knowing all of these things at the same time, right? So back then you didn't have globalized news like that, you know, or if you wanted globalized news, you're having to stay up 3-4 a.m. to watch Fox or, you know, whatever. But now we have Snapchat and TikTok and an Apple News notification that will pop up on your phone randomly. Like, people are just hyper aware. And I do think that accelerates maturity in a generation of people, like more on a sociological scale, but then also individually. So I do think we need to approach it with a level of compassion. However, I do think that there is a need as well for us to address how we then parent a generation of people and mentor a generation of people and give guidance to a generation of people who are growing up in such a culture and in such a technological time. And I do think, unfortunately, a lot of people ascribe the whole like, oh, you guys just haven't got it figured out and you're doing all these wrong things. But it's like, okay, well then who was there to give them guidance? Right? And who was there to tell them that's not how you go about things? Like, we have younger sisters, right? And I'm sure you can attest to having to pull them to the side and be like, what you're doing is nonsense. It's not going to lead you well. I can understand why you would feel the pressure to do XYZ, but don't. And I think, unfortunately, and this is why sisterhood is important, right? And this is why it needs to, and we talk about that whole like lateral and like vertical sisterhood, which is cross-generational. And I think today we have to shift our attention to the younger sisters, right? And so whilst we're all here seeking out mentors, who are you mentoring to be able to tell that's not gonna work out well, you know, or I've been there, or I'm noticing that you feel this pressure, because a lot of it is stemmed in pressure, like social pressure, to like just feeling like time is running out and all these things that I described earlier. And so how do you deal with how do you help a generation to cope with pressure? And I think a lot of us need to now assume that position of, okay, let me take a little sis under my wing. Let me advise somebody, whatever it may be, to just help them navigate through a time where they are exposed to more content than ever. Like, even if you had the desire to wear lipstick, say if you were born like us in the 90s, you have a desire to wear lipstick, or you have a desire to wear makeup, where are you going to go? It's not like you're going to YouTube to search. They had only just started making makeup tutorials, right? Or even if you're a bit older than us, for example, you're going to go to your mom's makeup bag. That's why the majority of people out here looking like clowns. Oh, boy. Do you know what I mean? But these days, if you have a desire to wear makeup, it's just a Google away to figure out how to do it. This is the thing. Do you get what I mean? And even to buy the products. Because before, who has a bank card? Fam. Who has PayPal? We don't know about
even
any of
the brands that are available.
Fashion Fair. What? No, but biggest man thing, Renee, I remember talking with my friends and being like, we're going to go buy her first foundation. Mary Kay, Avon. That L'Oreal, Maybelline Dream Mousse. Maybelline. Everyone's wearing the same shade, from your color to my color. Everyone's wearing ebony or whatever. Exactly. Like, that's us, right? But these days you're living in the days of influencer culture, and so you know about all the brands, right? And now you have access to, like, my younger cousins have bank accounts, right? I didn't get a bank account till I was like in sixth form. Same. And I only got it because I needed student finance. Same. My mom was holding me last. So now the access is a lot easier, right? To be able to buy these things online and access to wider range of products. And I'm talking about this more so from the beauty angle, but you can think about this in terms of fashion and all of that. And I do think because of that, it's no longer even mysterious and hard to access the maturity, right? Or the perceived maturity that comes with doing makeup and dressing a certain way and all of that stuff. So I think because there's lower barriers to entry, it's like why wouldn't the girls be doing all of this stuff, you know? And then the third thing, and I'm gonna leave it here because I've been talking entirely too much.
Nah, girl, you're spit.
But the third thing is also perceived maturity, right? So it's not even just, oh, you're maturing and you're doing things which people older than you should do. It's also this perception of, especially certain groups of women being more mature than their age would suggest. So there are also studies out there talking about the adultification of like black girls, young black girls, and the sexualization of young female bodies, especially of like for black women and stuff like that, or for black girls, actually, let's call it what, for black girls. And I think even making that differentiation between women and girls and allowing people to have those titles that come with certain seasons and ages is actually very important. Because I think the way we address, when we talk about things like eldest daughter syndrome, it's like the way we address young black girls is as if they are women. So we're like, you know, let's hold them accountable, let's teach them XYZ, and they're thinking about, you know, generational things and thinking about, you know, things that will impact their families. And it's like, I'm literally 13,
baby, I'm 13,
I'm 14, I've literally just seen my period, right? And then there's also the biological aspects, right? Because even when we were older, like I listened to tales from my mums, my aunties, my families, and they're like, yeah, I got my first period when I was like 17. Girls are out here getting their first period when they're 9.
Mate.
Do you know what I mean? So there's also the biological factors of now having to, and especially in a culture where people are learning about sexual orientation, sexuality, reproduction a lot earlier as well. Whilst we have a society that is like, you know, trying to safeguard children, there's also a personal responsibility we all need to adopt to make sure that we really are safeguarding the children we have access to, right? And safeguarding doesn't necessarily mean ignorance, it just means attention, right? And it just means making sure that, well, that's not all that it means, I don't know what it means in like social care, but like it just means keeping close attention and just making sure that people are literally just safe from themselves, from society and stuff like that. And I think on a more social scale, some people aren't afforded that protection because it's like, no, we need you to grow up. Your maturity is actually capital in this home right now, you know, because of the absence of certain people or because of the lack of resources we have in other ways, right? And so it's like, of course, people are going to be adultified and they're going to be they're going to be forced to mature early because the responsibility that has been put on them has forced that out of them. And then you get girls who then are a certain age and maybe, so for example, a timeline, which I'm sure some people can relate to. You're 13, you're taking care of all your younger siblings who are under 10 years old. You're basically being the second mum in the house, right? You do that all the way until your siblings are like 16 years old. Now you're like 25. And whilst you are actually still technically a youth, you feel like a grandmother.
You feel old as.
Do you get what I mean? And that's how that exactly. And I'm so convinced it manifests physiologically.
100%.
I am so convinced. But now you're at an age where it's like, oh, enjoy your youth. My youth was when I was 6. That season is long gone.
Not only that, but it has real ramifications for the way that we see family. And the way that we think of maturation, adulthood, romantic partners. It has real serious implications for the way that we engage with people. And it also normalizes. One thing that I actually wanted to touch on, I'm going to come back to it, but this happens in tandem with the infantilization of men. Let me put that one down. I'm going to come back to it in a second. But Courtney, you were spitting. I was like, yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Everything.
Those are my thoughts.
Everything and more.
They came rushing to my mind.
Everything rushing in a flood. Open the floodgates of heaven. Let it rain. Hallelujah. Yes, Lord. Passing around the offering bucket that you guys been talking about.
I'm screaming.
I love everything that you said, Courtney. It felt like point, evidence, explanation. And I'm going to pick up on the point that you were talking around safeguarding. I think that you are absolutely spot on in the sense that we have been bombarded with knowledge. We know things now. But whether we've been equipped, especially the youngers, whether they've been equipped, and I think sometimes the charge of the girls are growing up too fast, it really shucks off our personal responsibility for that growth or for that maturation.
And blaming social media,
blaming social media. But it's like, this is unregulated access to unregulated content. As much as the democratization of the internet has been great for like communities and building all sorts of this whole idea of like the collective thinking, the problem with that is it's unregulated. I can go on TikTok and watch anything. I can go on Instagram or Facebook or whatever and watch anything. We don't even have parental controls anymore. People are not hip. And the thing is, with a lot of us as adults as well, we shirk our responsibility to actually stay hip, which means that now we've got a generation of people that are smarter at navigating certain pieces of knowledge, but lack the wisdom because adults decided, I'm not going to learn what they're doing.
That's so good.
There's so many people, like, how many kids do we know that know how to use an iPhone? They know how to use an iPad. They know how to navigate around all of these complex technological things, but their parents have no idea what the hell they're using.
And they know how to exist in digital spaces independently.
Precisely. To the point where they have, you know, their own, like, back in the day, it was like Facebook profiles and MySpace pages. Now you can have you can be a TikTok creator of 1 million plus and your parents won't know.
Won't even know.
Your family won't know. Your friends won't know until somebody has sent something to them that you've been incriminated in.
Yeah, unless
and
you
then
confess.
when I think of even this whole idea of the girls are growing up too fast, I feel like this isn't new. Girls have been forced to mature for a very long period of time. It's just the type and the way that it manifests changes. So even for the girls of today, it's like, oh, you know, they've got their eyebrows on fleek. They're out here getting beauty stuff. They're buying all of the latest designer. We were doing the equivalent at our age of
I was full highlight contour in school.
Back in the day, my mom, when she was my age, or that age of like 12, 13, whatever, she wasn't buying fashion fair. She wasn't.
At all. That's Vaseline on the face.
That was Vaseline.
And baby powder.
And even then, her grandmother was probably not doing the same things that she was doing. So I think there's something in the repeated cycles of women having to get or gain social validation by opting into what is seen as mature. And the cycle keeps on going. So it's not, I don't even think it's a case of just the girls are getting more mature now. The girls being getting mature. They've been getting mature because that's how you get access to social validation. That's how you get access to men. That's how you get access to attention. It's how quickly can you mature. And it makes me feel icky because it also makes me think of associated issues like human trafficking, right? We've got how many women who are being trafficked every single day that are underage and they are participating in a lot of things against their will because of this idea that girls mature faster.
And digital predators, right?
There we go. Even that whole idea that girls mature faster. To whom? For whom?
And let's not act like science is not biased, but then also let's not act like that maturity, maybe like cognitive maturity or biological maturity, needs to apply to every aspect of life, because it's like, oh, you mentally, like you as a girl mature faster than boys, so let's put the weight of all of adult responsibility on you. No.
And the fact that we have to mature very, very quickly, and I'm gonna pick up that point again, the infantilization of men. Infantilization. Why is it that men are afforded a longer grace period to become a full man, whereas women, straight out the bat, we're nurturers. We're picking up dollies. We're there doing our little kitchens and stuff, learning how to cook, to be somebody's mother. I ain't seen nobody you learning to be somebody's father at 3? Are you learning to be somebody's father at 3? You was not.
Do you know how funny that
is? You picked up the tractors. You're picking up beds. You're picking up Ben 10. Whilst I was picking up dollies and I was doing up, makeshift. I'm a mommy at 4.
But it's the things that are considered important for girls versus what's important for boys, right?
Precisely.
Boys are nurtured towards independence and also social validation from women as well as men. Whereas women we are coached and we are socialized, especially because if traditional gender roles are enforced on you or in your culture, it's going to be you're coached for the social satisfaction of men, satisfy the male gaze, and also to prepare you for this one dominant role, which is motherhood, right? Or wifehood. Whereas men, it's kind of like, we know there's going to be a season of independence that you have as an adult before you even get married. And you still need to have cultivated that even if you transition from childhood to marriage, for example. But for women, it's like, independence, who is she?
What is that? Who is she? You're not going to have that period.
Nurturer.
And this is the reason why you do get women who get to ages of 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and they have no interest in being with somebody because they know that there is a whole, choir of infantile men. And that's how you get a lot of people who have mismatched relationship expectations because you got a lot of guys thinking that they're going to find their mother in their relationship.
And dare I say, this is why a lot of young girls are unfortunately accepting relationships and the advancements that they get from old men.
Bro.
Because they want mature guys. And they're also being told that men who are mature are over 30.
Let's speak on it. That's the next topic we're going to dive into in a second.
But before you said that, I did actually want to make a note about the whole maturity thing and like us wearing makeup in school and stuff. I remember like having conversations with people in the past, and I was like, you have to remember that when you watch people online, you kind of mimic their behavior. Exactly. But the online spaces are dominated often by people who are not our age. So when we were growing up, right, we were looking at the Patricia Brights, the Jenny Jenkins, like all of these people who were 25, 26 at the time. We were 14, 15, 16, you know? And so it was very much I want to be like this girl, but I can't put, not that I can't put, but because of the parasocial relationships that the internet can create, you can forget that there is an age difference and a significant life stage difference between you and the person that you are watching. And so as much as you find this person inspiring and you want to emulate them, you also have to give yourself not just grace, but the understanding, like have the cognitive understanding that I'm not there yet. Like it is the same when we like watch people with houses and marriage and all of that, and then you'll be listening to like a get to know me video, and they're like, "How old are you?" And they're like, 32. It's like, I thought you were my age.
It's like, oh, I thought we were sisters.
But it also works the reverse way, right? Because then you meet people with all of that stuff who are younger than you. Yeah. So I also think this is why it's important to also have friends in real life who are your age, so that you get a way more objective understanding of the fact that life stages actually vary at that age.
We've normalized the extremes on social media. There are a lot of people who are at our age and stage but have achieved lots of amazing and great things, but they've had access to resources that we don't have,
and you also can't see that.
And you can't see that, and we emulate. The thing is, we emulate pieces of people because you don't know what the hell they're going through behind closed doors. Everyday relationship goals, every day this goal, this kind of goal, this goal, which is admirable, but you don't know. You've seen their heaven. Do you know what hell they had to go through to get there? You don't know. And it's funny because we're striving towards piecemeal images of people. And it's a shame. I love the fact that you touched on the fact that we look at these people like our counterparts. And that's the problem with this whole familiarity that social media breeds. You think that they know you. You think that you know them. You think that you know everything about them. Even us, guys, look, here, listen. You may be listening to us thinking, that's my sister, that's my brother, that's my bro. That's fine. We love you guys. Really Lord knows we really, really love you guys. And every time we see you guys or interact with you guys, it makes us so happy. But we always reiterate that you are going on this journey in real life with people who are around you and able to keep you accountable and give you a real solid understanding and idea of what it means to operate in your own context. It's important. And content creators, I think, don't emphasize this enough. And I think what's difficult about that is obviously content right now is extremely unregulated. So we can only, we can only put this responsibility on content creators to an extent. Okay. But the issue is now it feels like there is a faceless, blameless society that we're blaming for this. Okay. So the way that we're going to have to tackle this is everyone has to pick up their pieces.
That's good.
Okay. Like we're not just blaming the content creators. We're not just blaming the kids. We're blaming you too.
Right.
You have been part and parcel of this culture that we're building. So in order for us to make change, everybody has to take personal responsibility and accountability for how much they have contributed to this feeling of, girls out here, our younger sisters, right, feeling like they have to do the absolute most to exist. Not even to just, not to be above par, but to exist. Now all of a sudden it's getting a Gucci bag. Now all of a sudden it's being taken to flipping Hakkasan by a guy. And this is how a lot of the sisters are being taken for idiots by boys that are 10, 20 years older than them because they can afford the things that they think are normal for their age instead of going to flipping Nando's with guys that are their age.
Nando's care. Nando's, you had to ask your parents for money for Nando's.
Bro, it's this kind of like this kind of image gang that we're doing. These kind of, I'm so mature for my age. Now girls are ending up with guys, 15-year-old girls, 16-year-old girls are being groomed by old men who think that they can come up in here and prey on these young girls because they're none the wiser. It's time that we girls, come on now. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Because it makes me think of, I don't know, back in the day, yeah, there were those girls who would be waiting for their boyfriends by their boyfriends would be waiting by the school gates. Yeah. These were grown men. Grown men.
And the thing is, it's not even the guys who are 18, 19 years older than them. It's the guys that are 18, 19 and 20 years old that are also the problem. I don't understand why men who should be focusing on their studies, their advancement into adult and their transition into adulthood are concerned with girls who are still wearing school uniforms.
Can you imagine?
Please sit down or we are calling the police. And I actually implore every single woman who is listening to this. No, because I feel like this is actually one of the things that are closest to my heart because I fell very deep into it in school, right? Yeah. I just like older guys and the girls around me, I just like older guys. And then we're dating guys who were considerably older than us, who then ended up doing very horrific things to us and putting us through very horrific things. And I think it's important to talk about the fact that there are sometimes untold stories about the very dangerous and heinous things that happen to girls who find themselves unfortunately in relationships where they have been groomed by older men and the way those older men then exert power over them. And I'm sick of it being, she's just jailbait or, basically blaming the girls. Always. Right? Oh, she led me on. I thought that she was older. If you as a grown man cannot actually discern whether somebody is of age or not, you're not doing enough to vet the people that you are dating, because to find out that a girl is actually in secondary school, I don't think it's actually that hard. And so I think it's important for us to have a conversation about these men who take advantage, because let's not act like they are clueless. These are men and boys who take advantage of the fact that these girls want to come across as mature, or these girls are presenting themselves as mature, and they take it as an opportunity to take the absolute mick and do horrific things to these girls. And we need to talk about that, especially in certain communities where sexual assault is, I'm not going to say it's been normalized, but it has not been problematized enough. And we haven't looked at how deep these things can run and how, I'm going to say, quote unquote, casually they can happen, and how we can all become complacent and complicit in them happening. So, it's the older men that will be chatting up the young girls, or oh, you'll be so pretty when you're a bit older, or give me your number, oh my god, you're so beautiful, the taps on uncle. The bum or taps on and it's the uncle culture, it's the oh my god, Renee, how old are you now? It's all of that stuff. And it's I'm gonna need the mothers, the sisters, the cousins, the aunties who are above 18, or anyone with an ear listening
and
to
the
this.
Fathers.
Especially. Oh, sorry. Yeah, actually, there we go. I'm gonna need the daddies to stand up and look to your boys and be like.
Because the thing is, and you know what? This is why, I hate to say it, we need men. This is why we need upstanding men of the community to check your boys, check your brethren at whatever every age. Single age. Even God, whatever age, whether you have walking stick or not, check your boys, because certain men, when they have a daughter, that's when they pattern up, because they realize that there are men like them that exist in the world. But it's only because you now have a daughter, and because you have a woman that is in close, not even a woman, a girl, a baby girl that is in close proximity to you, that is your seed, that now you care. I'm gonna need the men to stand up and be upstanding members of the community.
Because even if this ain't your daughter, it's somebody's daughter.
This is somebody's daughter.
Stop it.
Some men really forget that. And they really forget that. It's always, and what I even hate is the fact that we even have to say that. We have to conjure up some image of proximity. This could be somebody's mother. This could be your sister.
There you go. But I feel like that's the time we're living in now, because you even have to do it for women as well.
Crazy.
Do you get what I mean? This thing that keeps going on in my spirit is, you are your sister's keeper, right? But some people will be like, I don't know that girl. She's just XYZ.
And the thing is, that girl could be you real quick.
Exactly. And we really need to do the deprogramming of what patriarchal abusive systems have put in our minds, right? Especially towards our belief about young girls and teenage girls. Because we have also internalized a lot of these narratives about leading on and being, a bit too provocative. And why are you wearing that? Why shouldn't she show her belly button? She's 13.
Oh man, it's like, oh, your uncles are coming. Why? First of all, why are your uncles coming around? And why have you not checked them? Why is it? And it's the fact that from a young age, we are implanting in young girls' minds that men can't control themselves.
Renee Kapuku.
That men cannot I am so done with this. You have to dress a certain way.
Yeah.
You have to behave a certain way. You have to act a certain way.
Grown men.
When did you have a discussion with your uncle? This uncle that's coming back
your
and
friend
forth.
Or whatever.
The fact that you
them.
know that you can't, you have to stay in the same room as your daughter or your younger cousin or whatnot because uncle is coming round.
Yeah.
How about we discuss the fact that uncle's allowed to come round? Because I'll be damned.
And uncle is looking at too far below my neck.
I don't care. I don't care if you are my second cousin removed or you are my twin brother. The moment that a young babe is in the room and your head is turning, you gotta go.
You have got to go.
You gotta go and you need to be checked.
Inappropriate behavior really shouldn't be tolerated and it should be nipped in the bud. It's not
ASAP.
It's not friendly cultural jokes. It's not banter.
I'm not laughing.
Absolutely
Nobody
not.
is laughing.
You
that
are
will
not
get
welcome.
you put on a
And
sex offender register.
There we go. And unfortunately, so many girls then become conscious about their surrounding, how they dress when they're around these people, and also they become uncomfortable. And I think we turned it into banter, you know, the uncles that will church you and it's like, you know, I know these uncles are going to talk to me, eye roll, but actually let's talk about the discomfort and the fear a lot of young girls face when they are then left in, you know, the presence of these men. And it's like, actually, this isn't banterous. I don't feel safe.
To think of how much sexual assault that happens to women at very, very young ages could have been prevented. To think how much.
And also wasn't exposed, right? Because it goes back to that whole maturity thing and adultification, because it's like, if you're telling me to cover up, and that's the culture that I was brought up in, right? If I then tell you that Uncle Jimmy assaulted me and touched me inappropriately, your first question is going to be, why were you wearing inappropriate things around him? So why would I then confess? And then you get generational secrets.
The thing about this topic is it always starts off with, let's discuss the women, but really you need to get down and talk about the men too, because I am just so tired of women being at fault, always being blamed, always having to be conscious, always having to do the work, always having to, and don't get me wrong, To My Sisters is all about doing the work and glowing and growing and all of that kind of stuff.
That's
but
a collaborative effort.
It's a collaborative effort, and it's all about accountability. If there's one thing we're going to do here is hold people to account, and we're going to unveil everything under the rug. Okay, this is not just where, you know, removing certain things, changing certain things. We're trying to get acceptance. We're all about getting to the root of the matter so that we can actually rebuild something that stands. And I am sick to death, sick to absolute bury me now, because I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm sick to death of young girls feeling mad uncomfortable, growing up awkward, having flipping all sorts of body dysmorphia, having insecurities, feeling like they've been inappropriately touched, and they haven't even hit flipping 18 yet, and they've had all of these experiences that will now forever stay with them, creating loops of insecurity that they'll now carry into other relationships only to be exploited by more men.
Exactly.
I'm done.
And just further down the line as well, and it's why we have so many conversations that so many of us in the sisterhood can relate to, because not enough has been done to stop the wounds from early. Right. And a lot of us are carrying the pain from wounds that were inflicted on us in these very sensitive and tender years of being a child and being a teenager. And it shaped the way that we, like you said, interact with other people, but also perceive the world. And it shapes the way we perceive friendship, sisterhood, motherhood, fatherhood, the way we interact with our mothers and fathers. And I love that you brought up the fact that this is a conversation that has to bring men to account as well, but it also brings us as women to account as well. And we all have to accept the fact that even if the men don't pattern up, sisters, let's do as much as we can for each other. I know that this burden is quite heavy to carry, and we actually shouldn't have been carrying it alone, and we won't be able to fix it on our own, but at least let us do our part in what we can to help protect our sisters as well. Because similarly, my whole life, I have not only been affected by this sort of issue, but also it has burnt my heart. Like, it has actually broken my heart to know that this is what women all over the world are actually going through, as a result of the fact that when they were girls, they weren't allowed to be girls. They weren't allowed to not even just make the mistakes, but literally just be a child, right? And for so many people, their cultural experience or their lived experience is nobody even had the patience to walk them through what it means to go not just from girlhood to womanhood, but actually to just be a girl.
Yeah, man.
And actually allow them the space to do that, to just play, to just have fun, to not constantly be thinking about what do other people think about me. And also, it's not just what do other people out there think about me, right? It's what does my mum think about me? What does my dad think about me? What do my siblings think about me? We have to confront things like being bullied in your home,
right.
Experiencing neglect or abuse in your own household, or especially verbal abuse. And I think a lot of us as young girls as well can relate to maybe experiencing verbal abuse, right? And just people criticizing you with the false idea that you should just be able to bear it, and it gives you thick skin. And it's like, some of us have such thick skin now that we can't even realize when we've been
honestly
cut.
and truly. I think it's that desensitization to pain, right? Like that trauma response, but also the fact that we've never really been allowed to be sensitive.
Yeah.
And this whole because there is this idea that women are overly sensitive, we've gone the opposite direction where it's like to even be sensitive is just a sign of weakness.
Right.
It's actually okay to be sensitive, especially when you are a child. Because guess what? You're a child. Children are sensitive. You're still developing. You're still developing your cognitive capabilities. You're still developing your capacity to reason and process emotions. You should actually be able to feel things out and not trap them inside. But for many of us, it feels as though when we have been confronted with challenges or experiences or burdens, the response has always been to suck it up and grow up and take on this false responsibility or be this person to somebody else or to everyone else but ourselves. And now we get to a place in adulthood where it's like, we're actually done.
Yeah.
Especially for folks that are in, I want to come back to like the eldest daughter and come back to folks who have been in a place of becoming almost like a parent, especially for young girls. You now have this disdain towards everything around family. You have this disdain to even look, personally, it took a while for me to come around to even think, entertaining the thought of having kids, of being in a relationship with a man. Because in my head, I was just like, oh, this is going to be my next child. I'm not interested in dealing with another child. And then to now have a child with a child just sounded like hell. Dragged me down.
Yep.
So we've got a generation of women who are forced to grow up too soon, who are now in a place where they don't want to carry that burden again or repeat that cycle because they've been there and they've never had the it's no wonder that lots of women are now reclaiming lost time, and reasonably so, because they've never had the opportunity to explore, never had the opportunity to glow and grow, never had the opportunity to decide for themselves what they want. It's so mad that a community like this even exists because a lot of women were denied what they were entitled to when they were growing up.
And the thing is because you explained all of that excellently, so I'm going to talk about the flip side. There's then a group of women, and this is why I talk about, and we talk about relationships a lot, because then there's a group of women who then idolize relationships so much because that's the only place they think they're going to find identity, acceptance, and achievement of womanhood and femininity, and rest.
Oh, man.
And somebody to actually take care of them, and some kind of intimacy and affection, right? So they go then searching for relationships because nothing else can satisfy their womanhood like that status of being a wife or being a mother. And then they disregard. And I do think this is why we also, like in the beginning when we were talking about, well, have you got like a younger woman who mentors you or anything like that? Actually having somebody approach you when you were younger. Like, for example, we obviously became friends when we were in our teen years, right? And so getting to experience sisterhood in your teen years really does reorganize your priorities and what you believe contributes to your identity and what you believe to be important. But if nobody has approached you to let you know, hey, I want to have a relationship with you outside of what you can provide for me, but genuinely to invest in your goals and to help you on this journey of glowing and growing, right? All your personal development becomes to just cater to other people and to be used by other people and to nurture other people, and your achievements become about how far it gets you in society and how much it gets you from other people, rather than someone coming to you and just being like, I just want to know you for you because you're enough. If you've never heard that, and I genuinely think you hear that from your parents, you hear that from your siblings, and you hear that from sisters and friends, right? But if you do not know how to cultivate sisterhood, you may turn up 18, 20, like the dilemmas we get, 21, like I just came out of university and I don't have friends.
Or you might get everything. You might get the kids, you might get the house, you might get the husband, And yet you're desperately upset and lonely. Desperately so. Some of us have seen it with our aunties, our mothers. They are desperately lonely.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
Yeah.
Because they were never given that space or that opportunity. I even think it contributes a little bit to you. You know, when folks are like, oh, I never thought I would have to parent my parents when they get old. I think it contributes to that because they never had the opportunity to be kids.
Yeah.
And once their kids are grown, it's like, wow, now I got someone to take care of me. Because ain't nobody to... Being taken care of is such a special thing. And I pray it upon everybody that is listening. Because we've even, as you idolize in relationships, because they want to be taken care of. Caregiving, yeah.
I just want somebody to attend to my needs. It's the same, like as soon as we come out of the womb, that's all we need. In order to survive, we need to be taken care of, right? But the older we get, and unfortunately for some people, it's before it should actually happen, right? It's take care of yourself. But I actually need someone to take care of me. And not just take care of me as in cater to my every single need. I can't, make my own food. It's, has someone checked in on your mental health? Has somebody made sure that you're actually navigating the world? And it's what we've been talking about recently, like offline, about mentorship, right? Who's there to actually be like, do you feel confident in navigating the world? And how do I help you and equip you to be more confident and comfortable and feel safer in your navigation of this big, wild world that actually eats people up for breakfast?
Wild.
Do you get what I mean? And a lot of us are navigating that. Look at the internet. The internet is rugged, wild west, baby shootouts everywhere, left, right, center. There you go. But who's actually helping you and being like, okay, you know what? Come offline. Let me equip you with tools, wisdom, love, affirmation, affection.
Girl, it's us now.
Resources. There you go. To actually help you navigate this wild world, right? Yeah. And unfortunately, I think a lot of women are allowed to go out there, figure it out on your own, fend for yourself.
Not even a single person. And I think what also makes it even more sad is when sometimes your opposition is other women, right? The people that should be affording it, like, how it is, sis, but you out here trying to be an op. You have turned yourself into a suicide bomber. Or more, everybody's dying today.
Yeah.
I think it's so unfortunate because sometimes you'll have, I think there was also another TikTok of a lady had sent her kid to school and got her like, she looked like a kid, right? She got all the colorful stuff and folks were like, oh my gosh, I would die if I went to school looking like that, or, like, you're just going to embarrass her. And it's just like,
a kid.
She's a kid. She's like 12. This is part of the growing experience. Your parents are supposed to put you in embarrassing stuff that you liked.
It's true.
You're supposed to look crazy.
It's true.
That's the, you have to experience that. There we go.
But hey, I mean, there's multiple issues here. I feel like we've even just scratched the surface.
We've genuinely scratched it, Eddie.
Jesus.
Tune into another episode to be able to. This is part and parcel of the work that we do here at TMS.
Yeah.
Like, these episodes, we intend them to be a hug, but also simultaneously a slap in the face and everything in between, right? Exactly what a sister is supposed to do. Pull you up by your britches, but also send you off with a hug and a smile and a kiss.
Like, so we could do this together.
Let's do this together. So look, if you are a sister that's listening in and you're a younger sister, look, we are praying for you. We love you.
Yeah.
We care for you. Hook up and engage with your sisters. If you do have sisters, or your friends, like really enjoy real life friends, not your online friends, because some of these people on these online streets need to go to online jail or in-person
prison.
Me and Courtney stay saying some folks at jail time.
Honest to God.
And if you are a slightly older sister, whether you're in your 20s, whether you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, my challenge for you is to find a younger sister.
You're gonna say the same
find
thing.
A younger
please,
sister.
That's the please just find a person that you can mentor, be an older sister to you, or even just have a conversation with. Don't even have to dedicate much of your time. Just have a conversation with a girl in your life right now. Just ask her what's going on. Tell me, what do you think is cool? What do you feel like you need to be doing right now?
Check in. And if you are a guy listening to this episode, because I know y'all stay creeping listening to all this kind of stuff. I see you, brothers. We got something coming for you soon anyways. If you're a guy listening to this, you can also do the same, right? If they're not in a creepy way. If you do have a younger sister, because there's some younger girls, I'm not saying to, just like the conversation. If you do have a younger sister, obviously check in on her, but also think about within your communities of men, how can you do more to move forward this agenda? How can you do more to hold your men accountable if there's inappropriate behavior, actions, the way that they speak about women? What can you be doing to ensure that this is a collaborative body of work? We need to protect our girls. They're not women. Protect our girls on these online streets.
Come on.
And with that, man,
what a hearty episode.
That was hearty. I felt that deep in my heart. Sisters, we hope that you enjoyed that episode. As always, we would love to hear if you have any thoughts on the topic. Are the girls growing up too fast, or is this a grievous episode of neglect?
No, this isn't even an issue.
Is this a grievous societal misconduct endeavor? Please feel free to drop it like it's hot in the YouTube comments. If you're listening on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else, it's always good to have you over here on YouTube. So please feel free to drop it down and let us know. And of course, you can follow us on our social media platforms.
Yes, come along.
We're on the Instagrams, we're on the Twitters, we're on the TikToks, we're even on the LinkedIn.
Come on.
We're on TikTok, we're everywhere. And let me tell you about the LinkedIn, because there's I've loving the socials. We're all about women's empowerment and ensuring that you guys have access to resources, tools, all that kind of stuff. So we'll be sharing opportunities, latest research on women's issues, all that professional stuff that y'all need to get
opportunities,
all that jazz. And of course, that will be on @ToMySisterhood on all platforms. And of course, follow us personally, the lovely, the wise, the wonderful @CD Boateng over here. And of course, come and say hi over on my page @Renee Kapuku.
We absolutely love to see it. Sisters, we appreciate you so much. We appreciate your continued support over here at TMS, and we still need you to be rating the podcast 5 stars. We haven't said that one in a while, isn't it? You know, we've got you all engaged.
There we go.
Please rate the podcast 5 stars, 4 stars, and you guys already know the drill. We even have 2 email addresses now. Email us hello@tomysisters.com if you have any general feedback, constructive criticism. Rate the podcast on all streaming platforms, okay? Apple Podcasts, all of that stuff. Get us up there on the league tables, all right, on the charts.
We be working, man. Come on.
But honestly, we really do appreciate you. If you want more Glow and Grow tips during your week, every week, you can sign up to the To My Sisters mailing list by going to tomysisters.com. All right, we'll send you exclusive Glow and Grow tips straight to your inbox. Sisters, we hope that you have the most amazing week, and we will talk to you very, very soon. We're going to Tanzania this week. It's coming.
Party time.
We're going to Tanzania this week, so definitely make sure you are plugged into the socials so you can see all the fun.
You're gonna see some beautiful glowing and growing in there.
Zanzi baddies. You heard it.
Shout out to Jam, man. She really came through with that Zanzi baddies.
Yes, Zanzi baddies. You can even search the hashtag because I'm sure you'll find us. But yeah, have an amazing week because we sure will be. We'll talk to you very, very soon. And as always, keep glowing and growing.